we do it outside today. We usually switch. We're usually upstairs in like a great big room,
Okay.
and it's nice. But when it's this beautiful outside, I just feel like we should come outside and sit.
It feels really good. That's one thing, like at the other one, I wish it was more of a private, because you know, you can hear like...
Yeah, it gets that way up there too. Yeah,
Yeah.
not as bad, but it happens.
Yeah, I'm trying to get like farthest away from the door.
So today, just as kind of like a little intro, we got a few more minutes before we start. So I noticed actually on your bag, it has all of the chakras.
Yes.
And so today we're going to be doing a meditation that's going to be dealing with essentially the top 3 or 4 chakras.
Okay.
And so we're going to be thinking about breathing through our heart chakra actually, and just using kind of like that impression or the idea that we can kind of breathe into centers in our body.
Okay, perfect.
It's interesting because really the chakras there's all kinds of theory that goes into chakras, but one of the things that some yogis believe that there is a kind of a shift between the 3rd and the 4th chakra. The 4th chakra is the heart chakra, and the 3rd is in the middle of the kind of abdomen. And everything from here down is said to really be involved with our root chakras and really like kind of the more primal aspects of our existence, really. It's like, you know, that's like all of like the need to survive and food and all of those types of things are really in our root chakras. Where once we get into the heart chakra, everything really starts shifting and almost towards the meditative aspect, really. And so from the heart chakra up, so it's heart, throat, third eye, and then crown, these are really the chakras that are associated with kind of like a higher source, higher power, the mind, I guess you could also say. And so it's just kind of interesting. And you'll see, you know, and ultimately meditation and the breathing exercise that we're going to do today is just like all yoga, in that really it doesn't really matter what I say it is, it's really matter what you feel, right? But but at the same time, you know, I don't think that it's harmful to think about the top chakras being connected to kind of like a higher ideal. I think that's okay. I think that makes sense, right?
Right, yeah.
Because, you know, the chakra system in yoga is really talking about the energy currents of how we interact with the world and with our body and all that good stuff. And so, you know, it's an explanation, really, in a long way. And ultimately what we're trying to do is, and in this breathing exercise that we're going to do, we're really going to be focusing on kind of clearing the energy from those top level chakras, because we're going to be breathing through them, because ultimately the goal for the chakras is for them to all be open. It's not to close off or just be in one, but really to allow energy to flow from the top to the bottom and back and forth. And so that's supposed to be, you know, that's kind of the philosophical aspect of it. But
I've been getting into that myself.
right. And I will say, I don't think she's came yet, but there is a lady that has literally written the books, like multiple, on chakras and meditation, and she's coming to the Ashtanga room pretty soon. So if you enjoy today's chakra meditation, I would definitely look her up maybe, because that might be something to worth looking into. I am not a chakra expert by any stretch of the imagination, but she is. Judith Lassiter, that's her name. So, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. So today, I thought we would do 2 things that are really kind of at the base of my practice. The first is we're going to do a breathing exercise through the chakras that we were just talking about, and then the second is we're going to pull a Yoga Sutra out of the Yoga Sutras just for contemplation's sake. We haven't done Yoga Sutras in a while, really. We did like a whole chapter a couple weeks back, but we've kind of strayed away from that, so I thought we would come back to it. So without further ado, that's weird. The sun shifted that much. I'm gonna go back to the sun if y'all don't mind. I know, right? Probably, but that's okay. So with all meditation, the first thing that we want to begin with is really our seat. We want to establish a very comfortable, stable base in which to really stretch our spine is ultimately the purpose. And that can mean lots of different things to different people. Some people like to cross just like regular cross-legged style. I prefer kind of like a half lotus type thing. But really for me, it's really just about finding balance in the sits bone. So there's two bones in your tush, and we want to get those two bones as balanced as possible. Once you find your natural comfortable base, then see if you can relax the legs a little bit more. Make sure that they're not overly tense or like, gripping too much. You're going to have a certain natural amount of tension, but I don't think that it needs to be so impactful. And then from there, we want to really roll your hips forwards, and so once your hips roll forward, it allows your spine to elongate, and you want to sit up nice and tall, almost like you're pulling through the crown of your head. So think about creating space between every vertebrae, and there's usually like these little discs in between each one, so you can think about extending so much that you're actually reducing the pressure on each one of those little discs in your vertebrae. From there, I invite you to close the eyes. If you want to leave your eyes open, that's perfectly fine. You can also stare at the end of your nose or have a soft gaze in front of you. But for me, closing my eyes really eliminates more distraction and then allows me to hone my focus more quickly. From there, we want to get nice and open across the chest. Think about creating as much space between your shoulder blades as possible. Most of us text, drive, or type all day, and it's slowly bringing the shoulders together on the front body. Think about widening across the clavicle, across the shoulders, and at the same time you're pulling the shoulder blades onto the back body, almost like you're squeezing a nut together. One of the things to be conscious, though, is that some of us have, including me, a natural tendency to back bend when we do this. Make sure that you're knitting the lower ribs down towards the spine, so basically there's not a huge C curve in your lower spine. There's a natural one, but it's just not overly exaggerated. From there, you can take the tops of the hands to the tops of to the knees, and then close the mouth and begin breathing in and out of the nose. Not doing anything, not changing the breath, simply inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Inhaling and exhaling. Sometimes I like to think about inhale, I sit up a little bit taller. And on the exhale, I relax the shoulders away from the ears. As you continue breathing, see if you can slowly begin to turn your attention away from your thoughts. Patanjali calls them chitta vrittis, or mental thoughts, or thought streams. See if you can begin to shift your attention away from that dialogue that many of us have in our heads all day long. It can be in pictures, it can be in words. And instead, see if you can use that attention that normally goes into thought to focus on the breath. So really notice the inhalation and exhalation. Maybe you notice your ribs expand on an inhale, front ribs, side ribs, back ribs. Maybe on the exhale you notice any grounding through your sit bones, through your seat. Slowly see if you can begin to even out your inhalations and exhalations, making them the same length. If you'd like, you can maybe count on the inhale. So for example, you could inhale 2, 3, 4, pause, exhale 2, 3, 4. Inhale and exhale. Inhaling fully, feeling your whole torso fill up with air. And exhale completely, blowing all of that same air out of the body, leaving nothing left behind. Notice if you get caught up in one of the narratives of the mind, if you get sucked back into a story, a list. It could be your to-do list, it could be work related. Anytime that you notice that you've been caught up in another one of those narratives, see if you can pull your attention back to your breath. And sometimes it can literally just be one breath. Exhale. Oh, I got caught up in another thought. Focus on the breath. Inhale. And exhale. Oh, there's another thought. It's okay. It's important as we sit and breathe to not let that judgmental aspect of our persona take over. So we have this ego inside of us that's constantly comparing ourselves to others, to ourselves, to the past. Constantly telling ourselves that we're not good enough or that we're not meeting our own expectations. See if you can let that ego go. Yoga says that as we pull back from the ego and pull back from the thoughts, we'll notice a sense of completion already exists. Yoga says that we are perfect the way that we are. We just talk ourselves out of it. Keep breathing. Good. So we're going to start a breathing exercise. And this breathing exercise is really centered around the heart. So I can extend an invitation to you that maybe you even bring both hands to the heart. You can stack one on top of the other if you wish. And on an inhalation, imagine that you're breathing in through the heart. It goes up through the throat, through the top of the head, through the crown. And then on an exhale, the same breath comes down through the top of the head, down through the third eye center, forehead, through the throat, through the chest, through the heart, back out. So you inhale in through the heart, through the top of the head. Exhale down through the top of the head and out through the heart. Inhaling through the heart and exhaling through the heart. Perhaps you can even shift your perception away from breath and maybe just recognize that there's energy. It's called prana in yoga. You can think about the prana, or the energy of the universe, coming in through the heart, up through the throat, through the third eye center, out through the top of the head, and then exhaling the opposite direction, down through the top of the head, through the third eye center, through the throat, through the heart, and out. As with all breathing exercises, there are tools for us to use. And if they're not helpful, then I invite you to just cast away and go back to a normal seated position. But if the idea of breathing in through the heart, the throat, the forehead, the top of the crown of the head resonates with you, feel any energetic opening along those top 4 chakras, then I would encourage you to continue breathing. Continue your focus on the breath. And see if you can slowly begin to soften everything. Soften your attention to your thoughts. Soften your physical body. Notice if there's any excess gripping. Softening around the heart. Just breathing and sitting. Know that as you breathe and sit, sometimes the mind just doesn't want to stop. It just wants to keep turning. And that's okay. can try to stop the mind, but you probably won't succeed. So instead, just try not to add to the conversation of the mind. Patanjali talks about becoming an observer of the mind. Notice the thoughts come and go, but don't interact with them. Don't add your energy to the thought stream. Instead, turn your attention to your breath, breathing in through the heart and out through the heart. 5 more deep breaths. See if you can make them feel long and full. See if you can soften around your expectations of yourself, of others. See if you can soften around any judgment toward yourselves or others. Instead, think about just stoking the fires of your heart, of letting those emotions come forward, maybe letting the light of the heart shine. And you can continue this exercise, or if you'd like, you can release the tops of the hands down to the tops of the knees. Checking in, noticing how you're feeling. Giving yourself permission to make any adjustments that you may need to. Maybe you change the cross of your legs. Maybe you change completely. Maybe you lay down. All those things are fine. I find the fewer the rules that I put on my meditation practice, the more successful it becomes. Patanjali, in the first chapter, talks about the tranquility of thought. Tranquility of thought comes through the cultivation of friendship, compassion, joy, and the impartiality in spheres of pleasure or pain, virtue or vice. So according to this sutra or thread from the Yoga Sutras, tranquility of thought can be achieved through recognizing how fortunate we are. In the yogic sense, on the karmic wheel, being incarnated as a human is the highest possibility, because only humans have the possibility to achieve the 8th limb of yoga, samadhi, which is permanent happiness. So one of the ways that we can begin to stop the turnings of the mind, to find the tranquility in our thoughts, is to focus on some singular item that brings us joy or happiness. Caution that I give you is to make sure that this joy or compassion towards others is not in any way self-fulfilling, meaning that your love or your compassion towards your singular item is only out of love, not out of receiving, only out of giving. There's many things to be grateful in our lives. The ability to practice yoga. The ability to sit. The ability to have the time to dedicate to this practice. friends or family, your loved ones, your pets. Continue breathing, checking in every once in a while, making sure that you're still taking long, deep breaths through the nose. Still pulling the crown of the head towards the sky. Still relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Simply sitting, breathing, being present for ourselves and others. Know that as you sit and breathe, sometimes emotions, past recollections, yoga calls these samskaras, come up. Know that that's okay, and it's just part of the process. As we slow down and take time for ourselves, sometimes we're surprised by what we find. Sometimes it leads to the realization that we still carry old trauma. But all of these anxieties are simply thoughts that we're holding on to. And often, we're the only ones that are holding on to them. It's our attention that gives them power. So step back from the narrative of the mind. Simply observe the thoughts come and go like waves. But remain unattached or unaffected by these thoughts. You're simply sitting and breathing and observing the miracle of your mind. consider an Anjali Mudra or sacred prayer. Being thankful for this space, for each other, for our community. Being thankful for the gift of yoga. But mostly being thankful for yourself, for taking the time to work on you. It's not a selfish act. If we don't take the time to work on ourselves, then we'll have nothing to give others. The light in me honors and appreciates that same light that's with each of you. Namaste.